How's it going, guys? TwoTenEast here, and before I get started with the video for this week, I just wanted to take a quick moment and thank all of you for all the nice things you've been saying about the videos and these reviews. I'm glad you're enjoying them, and I just wanted to make sure I showed my appreciation for that. Also, I did get another correction. Amy, I've been saying Amy, it's Ami. We're changing it up. Thanks once again for all of my viewers who are there to help me out and correct me when I'm wrong. So thanks again, and let's get right into episode 9. So, humongous shocker. I know this is gonna absolutely floor you guys, but turns out Pee-young didn't say anything to Yu-shin. It was all a fantasy. At this point, I don't even care anymore. I'm pretty much numb to it. I don't get excited for these things anymore, and I don't get mad when I find out it's a fantasy. It's just whatever now. So meanwhile, Ami wants to find out more about Pee-young. She knows that the wife of the guy she's with is there in the hospital, and she wants to go visit her. Leave her the fuck alone, Ami, please. So meanwhile, Yushin asks Pee-young if she remembers anything, and by the look on her face, yeah, buddy, I think she remembers the salient points. The whole rant from Pee-young that got fantasized away from us was really cool, but in reality, we do see her at least pull her hand away from him, and this continues on throughout the whole episode. Every time he tries to touch her, she just pushes his hand away, pushes him away, doesn't even let him touch her, and yeah, it's not what we wanted. We didn't get the big blowout, call out, expose, big fight thing, but let's just try to think of this as appetizers, right? These are the complimentary salads, it's the hors d'oeuvres, it's the bread basket, so we'll get there eventually. So we get confirmation from Yushin that Pee-young's mom has cancer and it's not looking good, it's spread everywhere, and there's really not much that they can do. He's basically telling her she's not gonna make it and that Pee-young should get ready to deal with that. And Pee-young immediately gets out of bed and wants to go to her mom, and yeah, just this whole episode, Yushin just keeps trying to touch her and comfort her, and she just pushes him away. And with both of these monumental, life-changing things that are happening to Pee-young, what with finding out about her husband cheating and her mom probably dying very soon at the same time, it seems like she's prioritizing her mom right now, which I can totally get behind. We'll deal with Yushin later. The most important thing is reconnecting with her mom and being by her side. And like I said in the last video, you really can't not feel bad for Pee-young right now. This is such a fucking mess for her. Okay, so in other news, back at the house, Ji-ah tells Dong-mi that she saw her grandpa in her dreams last night. So we get confirmation that Ji-ah saw Dr. Shin's ghost, but she ended up thinking that it was just a dream. And after Ji-ah leaves the room, Dong-mi kind of talks out loud, I guess, to Dr. Shin himself, and is like, oh wow, even in death, you still can't let it go. And yeah, I mean, you fucking watched him die. I wouldn't have let that go either yet. She's talking as if he can't let go of some prank that she pulled on him once or something. Okay, then we get a really quick scene with Si-yeon, and she's just having a little flashback moment about how she saw Mr. So giving Yu Ram and Ji-ah money and talking to them at the hospital, and she seems pretty interested in that. Well, Si-yeon, well, looks like you're thinking about Mr. So quite a bit. Shout out to all of my Mr. So, Si-yeon believers. We love to see that. All right, back to the hospital. Yushin goes and checks on Ami, and he's basically just like, hey, you good? Cool, because I'm getting you the fuck out of here so my wife can't see you again. Get well soon. And Ami's basically just like, oh, okay. Alright, so then Ji-ah shows up with Dong-mi at the hospital to go see Pee-young. So during this scene, we find out that Pee-young literally can't speak. Dong-mi refers to it as mutism, and I guess it's a real thing, probably some kind of psychological thing, a reaction to the shock and the trauma of what she's experienced, and it seems like she's just temporarily lost her ability to speak. So now I guess we know why she couldn't go off on Yu-shin and only fantasized about it. Poor Ji-ah, I feel really bad for her. Obviously, It's really tough to see her mom in this state. But at the same time, I was also really impressed by Ji-ah. I loved how she kind of took charge and started caring for her mother. Okay, so later on, Ami is leaving to go to the new hospital, but she does end up trying to stop by Pyoung's room, but alas, Pyoung is not there. She went to her mom's room, and there's no dramatic scene, and nothing goes down. And I'm glad actually that it didn't happen because, yeah, it just would have been too messy, and I don't think Pyoung could have handled it at this moment. Also, it's just another example of how fucking shameless Ami is wearing that jacket to go see the wife of the guy she's having an affair with. Oh god, and then we get a scene with Gabin and Hyerion, and they are singing together. Gabin's voice sounds like a Disney character, like one of the creatures that sings in one of the big ensemble songs. Not like one of the main creatures that teaches the lesson, but one of the little side creatures that sits on a branch somewhere and has that little funny voice. There's like 3 of them and they're all different colors and they sing in a chorus. I don't know where this is going, sorry. And Hyerion is an even worse singer. Jesus Christ, make it stop. Can they please get mutism? So the only reason I mentioned this scene is because there is an important moment where Gabin plans to go visit Ami in the hospital, and she asks Hyerion to go with her. Now, remember, Hyerion is the one that saw Ami and Yushin at the equestrian club together. So now if he meets her, he's gonna probably make that connection. Then we get a quick scene with the doctor, and he goes to shop for a car, I guess, and he sees the cutout thing of Ami modeling for the car dealership and realizes she's a model. He seems very interested in that, and I really hope that he's not developing a crush for his own daughter. I hope it's just genuine interest in her as a vicarious manifestation of his own preoccupation with his long-lost daughter and his identity as a father. I hope. He seems like a good guy, so I'm optimistic about that. So it's confirmed Hyerion actually does go with Gabin to the hospital. He meets Ami, and yes, he does make that connection. He remembers who she is. So after they meet Ami, which is kind of uneventful, Ami just says to Gabin, "Oh, he's such a gentleman." After that, Hyerion and Gabin are back at one of their places, and they're talking, and Hyerion asks Gabin about Ami and who she is seeing, and Gabin has the nerve to say, "Hey, that's private. I can't tell you because it's not really any of my business." Really? Really? It's none of your business. But you made it your business to have an affair with a married man with kids. But that was your business. But this, I can't gossip about my friend who's, by the way, also having an affair. No, that's just none of my business. All right, so meanwhile, Yushin tells Ami, "Hey, I know you were just hospitalized for drinking too much and cutting yourself because you were depressed about not seeing me, but now that you're mostly recovered, by the way, I'm not gonna be able to see you again for a while. Sucks to suck, Ami. Sucks to suck." Okay, so then we get the Songwon Mr. So scene that we were shown in the preview for last week. So they're there to meet up with some lady, Mrs. Park, and it's for Songwon's job as a translator. I guess Mr. So wants to learn Chinese to help prevent dementia? So they start talking about maybe him taking lessons, but then Songwon says, "Hey, I'm gonna refer you to someone else actually because I can't really do night classes because I'm with child." And they still decide to have dinner together, but I'm really hoping that they don't keep talking. I don't like that pairing at all. I am definitely part of Team Siyun, Mr. So. So eventually Mrs. Park shows up and they talk, and Songwon finds out where Mr. So works, and she's like, "Oh shit." So after Mr. So dips the fuck out, Miss Park tells Songwon that she was actually trying to set her up with Mr. So. And thank God that didn't work out. Alright, so just like Ami tried to go find Pyoung in her hospital bed, Pyoung goes and tries to find Ami in her room, but finds out she has been transferred. I get the feeling that when the time comes, Pyoung is gonna get her speech back and get it back at a very climactic moment. Just a sense I got. And you just gotta love the nerve that Yushin has talking to Pyoung about how she's breaking his heart because she's acting cold to him. Wow, dude, you know that she knows. Why bother with the act? I mean, I get it in front of other people still, but damn. And Pee-young even has a fantasy of grabbing an IV thing and choking him with it, which, even though it was a fantasy, was still pretty satisfying to see. Okay, so then we get another little interesting scene where Hae-ryun drops off some food and stuff for Seyun and the fam, but accidentally runs into them while he's doing it, and Hyung-gi doesn't even have time for him anymore. She just goes right by Seyun and goes back into their apartment and just completely ignores him, and good for her. But after this, Seyun and Hae-ryun talk briefly, and he gives her the intel about Yushin and Ami, that he's confirmed it and that she's a friend of Ga-bin. And Seyun, who basically thought that it wasn't true after what Pee-young said to her, is now shook again. She was shooketh. I'm sorry, I just love cringing you guys out. So then there's a longer chat with them in the car, and Hae-ryun tells Seyun more about Ami, how she's a model, and Seyun is trying to put all the pieces together, and she wonders if maybe Pee-young's loss of speech, the mutism, is due to her finding out about the affair. And then we get basically the saddest scene in the entire show so far. Pee-young is by her mom's side and she's crying and she's remembering all the terrible things that she said to her that we saw in season 1, and now she's in the same situation and she's starting to understand her mom, and she must feel so humiliated too, because she has based her life on being the best wife ever and having the perfect husband and the perfect marriage, and to find out that that is a lie, it must feel like part of her identity is also a lie. She wanted to be so different from her mom, who she never forgave for splitting up the family when it was obviously the dad's fault. She did everything right as she saw it, and she still ended up in the same situation as her mom, and that's just, it's so tough. And then she starts writing on her mom's chest like imaginary letters saying, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you." And this single tear rolls down the mom's face, and you can tell that she can hear Pee-young, or sorry, not hear her, but she can feel the letters and understand them. So they do make some kind of connection there at the end. And then the monitor goes crazy, and then yeah, it goes dead, and her mom passes away. Tough scene. RIP to Pee-young's mom. And I'm glad that she, at least in some way, got to reconcile with her mom. Even if it wasn't through words, it was through an emotional connection and an understanding. And I think all of you guys would agree that even though they didn't talk, they made up in their own way. So meanwhile, Dongmi is sleeping in bed with Ji-ah, and she gets the call from Yushin to tell her about Pee-young's mom passing, and she doesn't hear it right away. She doesn't really wake up, and Dr. Shin, the ghost, appears, and he gets up and like ghost pimp slaps her to wake her up. Who was it out of you guys that called it in the stream last week? Somebody was joking about wanting to see Dr. Shin throw hands. I can't believe you called that. What a prediction, and shout out to whoever that was. All right, so then we get the final scene of the episode, and Pee-young's mom is in her casket. It's time for the final goodbye, and I just wanted to kind of break down this scene visually real quick. So we see the whole family looking at the mom in her casket through that viewing window, and framed within that window, all standing together, it kind of reminded me of the family portrait that all three of these couples have in their homes. I talked about this previously in other videos, what I think those kind of represent, but I'll go over it real quick here. It seems like the portraits of the family represent the idealized marriage, the picture perfect life that isn't always the reality. Life is not a perfect picture. And here in this moment, we see them framed once again as if in a photograph, as if in a family portrait. It's almost like a symbolic death of that perfect family portrait, which is a beautiful piece of irony because it's the mother who's actually dead, but if you look at the lighting, it's the family in the viewing window that is portrayed as looking more dead or deathly, while Pee-young's mother is lit to look more alive. But then they come out of that framing and come over to the mom. And of course, the mom is the one who has helped Pee-young through her own story realize that these picture perfect marriages don't actually exist. They can't be maintained the entire time. Life isn't perfect no matter how hard you try to make it. And Pi-young now steps out of that portrait. Her family steps out of that idealized image of marriage and comes over to the casket, just like Pi-young emotionally comes to an understanding of her mother's point of view. And I just thought that was a really cool moment because it definitely has a lot to do with the main themes of the show and its commentary. Anyways, that's it for this episode. You could say this was kind of a slow episode in terms of big drama. Of course, the mom passing was big. It was heartbreaking. But besides that, pretty low key. I did still think this episode was interesting though, because there was a lot of putting puzzle pieces together. A lot of things are coming together now. Different characters are crossing over and making connections, and everything seems to be moving towards all three of these marriages ending in divorce, which of course makes sense since that's part of the show's actual title. So let's get right into episode 10. All right, episode 10. I'm gonna try to get through all this like uninteresting shit that happens in the beginning because we really need to talk about the stuff that happens at the end, because wow, what an episode. So real quick, we start off with the scene with Songwon and Sahyun, and they sit down and have a conversation, and they kind of talk about some of the same exact points that we've all been talking about in the comments and you guys have been saying in the stream, this ongoing debate about Songwon, Sahyun, Hae-ryung, that whole situation. And I've said a lot of stuff about Songwon recently, and I've been doubting her and her motives and intention, but here she does seem as if she means what she says. All I want is my baby. We can't be together. It's a sin. It's wrong. You should keep your promise, Sahyun. Do what's right. And yeah, the whole master manipulator Songwon theory, it definitely took a hit for me here. I was pretty convinced here, so we'll just have to wait and see, but definitely a good look for Songwon here. Okay, then we check in with Pi-young, and she's still not doing good, obviously, not talking, barely eating, and not even wanting to see her friends. We also get a quick scene with Hae-ryung overhearing Mr. So and Dong-ma, and she makes the connection there, figures out that they are brothers, and also figures out that Mr. So is the oldest brother and I guess the heir to that electronic company or whatever, which she sees as a real catch. Okay, so let's keep track, guys, of all of the stuff that we saw in the preview for this episode that is just gonna turn out to be fantasy. This is the first one, the scene where Pi-young has Yushin's bags and Jia's crying and saying, "Don't go." That was a fantasy scene, so that's one down. It was actually just Pi-young imagining that because she's considering what she wants to do, weighing her options. All right, then we get this scene with Sahyun and the parents talking about fortune tellers and compatibility with Songwon, and I'm really sorry for the people that like this stuff or believe in that stuff, but I'm skipping this because honestly, I'm so tired of Sahyun in general, and also so tired of him going on and on about fucking compatibility and fortunes and meant to be, and I just can't take any more of it. All right, so then you're not gonna believe this, guys, but yes, it happened. There's another ghost in town. So Dr. Shin, move aside, you're old news. Pi-young sees the ghost of her mom. This is like right after her funeral pretty much, and she goes to hug her, but obviously she's a ghost and Pi-young can't touch her. Mom ghost disappears, and then Pi-young goes to look for her and try to find her again, and she even looks out at the night sky and we see the moon, and I was thinking, don't you fucking make her appear in the moon like Yushin, don't you do it. But thankfully they didn't. So yeah, a lot of questions here. I'm wondering, can these two ghosts now hang out and talk to each other, get a ghost dinner, go on a ghost date, have some ghost drinks? Maybe they can join forces. I mean, they are both hanging around the same family. But anyways, the other good news out of this is that Pi-young can talk again. She talks in this scene to her ghost mom, but she's still an absolute wreck, of course, and unfortunately no one was around to hear her talk at that moment. Okay, then we get a really creepy, weird scene with Dong-mi, as per usual. She literally is praying to, I don't know, I guess the cougar goddess, asking for a young man of her own to touch. Wow. Okay, so then we're back with Yushin and Pi-young, and she's got this plan that she wants to send Jia abroad to study, and she wants to take her there herself, meaning Yushin will be left back in Korea. And I don't really know about this plan by Pyoung. I guess it's her way of sneakily leaving Yushin and taking Ji-ah with her. Yushin tries to shut it down, and also Pyoung keeps shoving him away every time he tries to touch her. That's still happening, and I love it. So then Yushin, as he often does, gets the nerve to start painting himself as the victim, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? I've been a good husband, me. And I guess that's the last straw, because then Pyoung gets her coat and her bag and tells him to drive her somewhere, and we all know where that somewhere is, and I really hope this is actually gonna go down. They get to the car, and Yushin's still chilling, thinking it's no big deal, but then out of nowhere, Pyoung just says, put in Ami's address. And then, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the storm fucking arrives. And you know when a storm hits all at once? Like, you see the dark skies and you know it's coming at some point, but then it just comes out of nowhere and just hits hard. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yushin was not ready for this at all. She basically pulled a blitzkrieg on him, and wow, she is completely icy cold calm. So she gives him an ultimatum: drive me to Ami's place so we can talk and you can explain this shit, or drive me to the courthouse so we can get divorced. Your choice. And Pyoung pulled that divorce paper out so fast on Yushin, it was like the fucking fastest gun in the East. Goddamn. So now I'm thinking, what are you gonna do now, Yushin? Mr. Smooth Talker, I can't wait to see how he's gonna get out of this one. And he's grasping for straws, trying to say some stuff, but Pyoung just shuts everything he says down immediately. So they finally pull out, and Yushin pulls out kind of dramatically and fast, because he's obviously frantic. And Dongmi happens to be coming to the garage at the same time, and she sees them leaving and wonders what's going on. And while they're driving, Yushin still is trying to say something, calm Pyoung down, but he's just getting mollywopped repeatedly, and Pyoung just isn't having it. So they get there, and Pyoung uses Yushin's phone to text Ami that he's coming so that she's not on alert, because Pyoung is just savage right now and too smart for everybody. So they get to the apartment, and Ami is there in like a bathrobe and towel on her head, and she greets Yushin without really kind of looking at him. And then she turns around finally and sees Pyoung and Yushin standing there, and she's like, oh, fuck. And Pyoung and Yushin are standing there posing like anime villains. Pyoung looks like a fucking mob boss. And of course, Ami is completely fucking blindsided, just like Yushin was, and gets caught in the Pyoung storm. And she's looking like a sad little alien. So it's time for a powwow, and damn, Pyoung, I am sorry I ever doubted you. She is definitely razor sharp smart. And this is the Pyoung we were hoping for, the Pyoung we were expecting. She puts Yushin in fucking checkmate here, because she doesn't let him talk to her about Ami until Ami is there too. So now Yushin can't just lie and say Ami meant nothing or means nothing to him, since Ami is right there. He can't play one side over the other. So when she asks these questions like, what does she mean to you, he's fucked either way. And Ami finally speaks up and says that we are in love. Oh god. I can't wait to see how this goes. And Yushin is just there looking like, fuck my life. So Pyoung just starts questioning them, and it's the usual stuff. How did you meet? And she's connecting the dots. And I just also want to mention that the music for this scene was so fucking good. It went so fucking hard. It was such a perfect compliment to Pyoung's icy cold determination and also the emotion underneath that, and it was just great. I loved that soundtrack. And Pyoung is just basically walking all over these guys the entire time, and then it's capped off with the final bomb that drops. Pyoung goes, well, Ami, he's a sweet man, as you know, so have a good life together. I'll sign the divorce papers ASAP, and I'm out. And I guess now we know what Pyoung's final decision is. She's going all in with the divorce. So Yushin runs after Pyoung, and he's not just running after her. Let's be honest. He's running after his perfect image, his perfect life, and his reputation. He tries to stop Pyoung from getting in a taxi, but nah, fuck off me, bro. And she gets in the taxi and drives away. And when she gets in the taxi, she is finally able to let her guard down, and it's okay, Pyoung. Just like Siyun before, you did well. You did fine in there. and we are proud of you. And Pyoung only lets herself break down for just a moment, and then she's right back in the game making moves, calls up the auntie, Kenji, I'll stay with you overnight. Cool, alright, boom. Okay, so in the middle of all this action, we then get a slight break, and it's a break to see Dr. Shin, the ghost, walking into an indoor pool place area and using his ghost powers. Instead of helping out his family or plotting against Dongmi, no, this time he's using them to check out women and stare at their bodies. Really? Is this is what we're doing now, Dr. Shin? I can't even believe they have this scene in the show. So weird. Okay, back to the action. Pyoung gets home, sits Dongmi down, and tells her that they are divorcing, and Dongmi gets all excited like a puppy inside because she's thinking this is her big moment. But then the other shoe drops, and she finds out her beloved stepson has a 29-year-old mistress. And yes, this is what we've all been waiting for. So Yushin is there, and he just storms out because, I mean, there's nothing he can really say at this point. He's been fucking obliterated on all fronts. And Dongmi, you can see that she's starting to crack because she's still trying to play the grandmother, mother-in-law role, and that's what she's been doing to get on Pyoung's good side, but she feels absolutely betrayed by Yushin, and she's asking Pyoung questions about Ami. Who is this bitch? She's trying to find out where she lives. I mean, like, building, apartment number, and you know Dongmi is fucking nuts, so she will definitely kill a bitch. And Dongmi is close to losing it because her whole sick, twisted fantasy for her stepson has been a lie, just like Pyoung's marriage. So then we cut back to Yushin and Ami, and he's basically telling her the same old thing, which is, I can't get divorced, so let me settle things with my family and we can be together in like 3 to 5 years. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Alright, so if this all wasn't crazy enough, Yushin actually brings Ami back to his family's place, back to their home, and right into the lion's den with 2 lionesses staring at Ami like a fucking afternoon snack. Dongmi and Pyoung are just chilling on the couch when they come in, and Dongmi sees Ami for the first time, and here we go. Most of you guys saw the episode, so you know what happened, but holy shit, Dongmi is my fucking hero. I don't even care what you guys say. She's evil as fuck, I know, but she's on our side in this moment, I feel like. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type shit, right? I'm not gonna lie, guys. This scene, I think Dongmi went harder than Hye-ryung did in this scene. I'm sorry, but that rage, that anger, that demonic speed. So she just flat out attacks Ami right off the rip, pulls her hair, lashes out like some creature with claws, gets pulled off Ami by Yushin, gives him this death stare, then slaps him, then attacks again, all while like screeching like some creature from the underworld. God damn, those noises are gonna haunt my dreams for weeks. So I gotta give credit to Yushin. He's got some balls. He really thought this was a good idea. He's got this story thought up finally, because you know Yushin's always got a story to try to smooth things out. So Ami and Yushin's game plan, which is pretty much just Yushin's game plan. I mean, he obviously prepped Ami before they went there. Their game plan seems to be, hey, this is a misunderstanding. We're not romantically involved. This is just the case of a big brother helping out a little sister type deal. She's from the US, she didn't have anybody in Korea, so I looked out for her and gave her advice, brotherly advice. That's it. So Pyoung just right away asks Ami, okay, cool. If that's the case, let me see your phone. Let me see what name you have him under in your phone. And again, smart move by Pyoung. So Yushin knows that he's fucked if Pyoung gets to see Ami's phone, because she probably has him down as daddy or hubby or lovey-dovey, I don't know, something like that. So he tries to protest, but then the interrogation is once again interrupted by Dongmi, first throwing her drink on Ami's face, then picking up the bottle and lunging to attack. But then the episode is over. Wow, what an episode. This might have topped that other one with Hye-ryung. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Dong-mi just went all out. She let loose, guys. And damn, Yushin is just completely outgunned right now in that scene. Imagine being against Dong-mi and Pi-young. I know they were technically kind of enemies up until now, but they make a fearsome duo when they are on the same side. Meanwhile, Yushin just has Ami and his bogus story. Whew, okay. There is so much to talk about here, guys. What do you think about what happened in this episode? Of course, this whole scene, this whole drama with Dong-mi, Pi-young, Yushin. Are we still hating on Dong-mi after this? Do we like what she did here? Also, from the start of the episode, did Songwon convince any of you Songwon doubters that she has good intentions? So much to talk about, so much to go over. And yeah, the preview for next week, I don't know what I really want to take seriously from that because, of course, we get so many fantasy scenes now that are just clickbait. But there is a scene with Ami and Dong-mi, I guess, fighting again, and it looks like Ami is gonna have some moves this time. It looks so over the top, so I don't want to get my hopes up for that because it just looks like some kind of fantasy, but we have seen round 1 already, so maybe it might be real. I don't know. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I love all of you guys. I will see you next week. Have a great day.